All right. That's the way to wake up on a Sunday morning, isn't it? Spread the joy, guys. We're spreading the joy. We're spreading the love. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Boy, we lucked out with the musicians in this community. And we're so thinking of Oriana, who has, blessed us with so much incredible music. And we love Tricia, but we're also waiting for the day where Oriana comes back and shares her sweet spirit with us. We love you guys. All you guys out there, I just want to acknowledge you because there's so many who are watching online. So many people who have been sitting in these chairs over the years. And they're watching us now this morning online. So know that this room is full. It's packed. There's over 100 of us here, between the ones sitting here and the ones who are watching. We're all together. And so we can join together like this as long as we have to. But we pray for the day when we can all be together again right here. Can we turn these up a little bit, please? Thank you. Thanks. So last week we talked about the second principle of unity. We talked about the fact that we all have a spark of divinity within us, but that's also known as the Christ light, right? That's what we know it as. But it's really, it can be called anything. It's a vibrational frequency of harmony with the universe and with life, with the earth, with the people around you. When you're not in a vibrational harmony with the things around you, then that's when all these so-called negative experiences begin to happen. But perhaps we can look at all these things that are happening in our world today as a wake-up call. A wake-up call to accept the Christ within. So what we talked about last week was that we are created by a loving source. And if we are created by a loving source, then we too are loving. We too are good. If we are created by something good, then we too are good. So I propose the question, if we are inherently good, then why is there so much needless suffering in the world? Why is there so much fear and blame and division and mindless destruction of our planet, which we need to live? Why is all that happening? Does anyone recall the answer? It was only a week ago. Fear. Well, that's a good answer. That's part of it. Separation. Great. Carol's been paying attention. What did you say? Mistakes. Mistaken identity. Mistake of who we are. Mistaking our neighbors as enemies instead of our brothers and sisters. That's a big mistake. We're mistaking our planet as something that we can destroy in order to live. That's a huge mistake. So all these things, yes, separation being the biggest one, but the answer that I've come to, the fundamental mistake, is that we've lost touch with our divine nature. We've lost touch with who we are. And so that brings about the condition of separation. Losing touch with our divine nature has therefore brought us to inability to get back in touch with our source. Not that we can't do it, but that we're refusing to do it. That we're preferring our sense consciousness or the power of the ego, the power of the personality over our Christ consciousness. We know that our sense of separation from source and from each other is the cause of all human dysfunction. So we here know that. And I think that's the most compassionate way to teach it in the world. Otherwise, you're just going to still have people disagreeing on what is our problem and how to fix it. What is our problem? Well, if separation is our problem, it's already been fixed by God, by our reality, by Spirit, that says, no, you're not separate. Everything is one. Time for acceptance. Time to let go of my attacks on myself and using my brothers and sisters to attack myself. That's the craziest thing of all, is that we refuse to see that when I attack another, I'm attacking myself. That's pure Course in Miracles. So the continuous cycles of fear and attack have led to a place where humankind as a whole is at an evolutionary crossroads. Does anyone here agree with that? That we are at an evolutionary crossroads, that we can't just sit by anymore and just let it all happen without our intention and without giving our full attention to the solution. I really feel like this is an evolutionary crossroads. And what we're in now, which is the title of my message today, is the Great Karmic Cleanse. We are cleansing the consciousness of humankind. Now, what happens in a physical cleanse, I won't go into it, but you can use that metaphor for what's happening in the world today. And that is all coming up for healing. Because once we let go of all that no longer serves us, what happens? We uncover the light. We uncover the Christ within. But we have to willingly, individually let go of our fear, our attack, and our agreeing with people who use fear and attack as a way of life. We have to be the teachers. We have to be the teachers of love and compassion and unity. If that's going to be our name, then we're going to have to talk about it. We're going to have to talk about how do we bring our spiritual unity into physical humankind unity, unity of the human family. Because it is an evolutionary turning point. And there's one Native American teacher that I read who said, this can be a portal to higher dimensions, or it can be a hole to go deeper down into your despair and destruction. So you choose. It's up to you. It's up to you individually. It's up to you as communities. And it's up to you as any person that lives on this planet. You haven't realized the power that you really have, the power of mind, to release yourself from the darkness and allow yourself to, I would say, the most important thing in Christianity is to ascend into your Christ consciousness and into higher dimensions of thinking. Because I'm going to go to the third principle of unity. If the third principle of unity has any validity at all, which I believe it truly does, especially if you look at quantum mechanics, it says that everything in the manifest realm begins in thought. Everything comes from thought. Everything in the scientist back here is nodding his head. Everything in the manifest realm has its beginning in thought. So we create our experiences by what? The activity of our thinking. Exactly. You guys are advanced here. Okay, now that we know that, do we watch our thoughts throughout the day? Now that we know that we create our own experiences by the activity of our thoughts, what kind of thoughts are we sharing with each other? What kind of thoughts are we putting out on the internet? What kind of thoughts are you sharing on Facebook? I always catch myself sometimes when I get angry and I want to vent on Facebook. No, don't do that. Because what's happening is that I'm sharing a thought that's not true, and it's going down the hole of darkness and despair, and it's leading other minds to think those same thoughts. So if everything in my physical experience, if everything in this physical realm has its beginning in thought, I have to watch my thoughts. And I really have a great time doing it. I really have a lot of fun, especially when I hang around with others who are also doing the same thing. What are we doing? Together, we're mastering magnificence. Yeah. How are you doing today? I am awesome. You know, everybody looks at me like, you're awesome. How can you be awesome? I just am, you know. I feel awesome because I am receiving the healing. I'm accepting the power of healing that comes to me from identification with Spirit. Comes to me from identification with the light within. That awesomeness, that feeling comes to me and it's so fast. Every time I think of the Christ within, every time I stop, let go of my thoughts that's bubbling on the surface, get still and remember God, then I am awesome, because everything is awesome right there. Everything. And you not only can do it, you do it more than you know. What I'm saying now is that if we do it with intention, if we intentionally, first of all, know that we are cleansing our consciousness from all that no longer serves us, but intentionally uncover the Christ within, we're going to feel awesome all the time. We're going to be awesome. We're not going to have a lot of uncertainty about what's going on in the world, because we're creating that experience through the power of our minds. So there's a few, oh boy, I've got a lot of stuff. I had to stop myself because my messages have been getting longer and longer. You know, it's like when you're at home and you're not like going out all that much and you got a lot of time. Man, I really was about to give you a 1 hour message this morning. But, you know, many of us have realized the need for healing and forgiveness and breaking the patterns of pain and suffering in our own lives and releasing ourselves individually from repeating the same karmic cycles that we've carried for generations. It's not enough to say, oh, that's just your karma. No, you can change your karma. You can cleanse your karma. That's why people do past life regressions. That's why people talk about these different modalities of healing and get into deep psychological healing from the past. So you don't carry those cycles and patterns of dysfunction into the future. And so we're cycle breakers. We're cycle breakers not only for ourselves and our own families, but for the world, for this human family. And so the universe does this amazing thing that when you come around and are faced with the same lesson, that you learn to master that lesson on a higher level. You see, they used to say, if you don't learn the lesson, it comes around again. But you see, energy goes in a vortex. And so life actually is not linear. It's a spiral. Life is happening. If you look out in the universe, the planets are revolving around one another. Everything's moving in this sort of fashion, not in this sort of fashion. You know, it's moving in lots of complex circles, complex, wonderful, adventurous vortexes of energy. And that's what we've been afraid of. We've been afraid to step out of our linear thinking from A to B and realize that it's really a spiral. And we're coming around, again, like Neil Wise, the comet, came around. When's the next time we're going to see that comet, Charlie? Millions? Billions? I thought I could wait 7,000 years or something. It's not coming around again for a long, long time. But it will come around again. So some of these lessons are coming around so that we can master them more fully. So it's not that we get all fearful that, oh no, I'm facing this again. But why are you facing it again? Because this time you can handle it. This time you can make a change. This time you better make a change, is what I'm saying. If you want to experience the awesomeness of creation, make that change. Let go of your separate thinking and move from the Christ within. Now, the reason we can't do it is we've cut ourselves off from our source. And so it seems like I can't do it. It seems like no matter what I do, I end up back in the same cause and effect problems. And I come back to the same lesson and I'm not learning it. But that's not true. You came back to the same lesson so you could master it. So this is really an important time for us to master unity. It's an important time for us to master being in one human family, master the idea of oneness. And so we have some basic lessons I think we need to master. I think, and I truly believe, that we are at the beginning stages of a necessary karmic cleansing of humankind as a whole. Our way of life has to change. It can't go back to the way it was before this pandemic. It just can't, because we're just eating up the earth, and now we're creating viruses that eat up each other. We still have wars. I mean, what an archaic idea that we would need to fight another person to keep our peace. That's crazy. And you know it's crazy, but you keep doing it. Why do we keep doing it? Because we haven't learned the lesson. Now it's time to master the lesson of peace, of oneness, of coming together. And I have put together a little practice of how we can do this. The reason that it seems impossible for us to break these old patterns and these old karmic habits is because we still feel cut off from the source. And so we're protecting the little bit that we have. We don't know how poor we really are when we do that. When we protect that little tiny view of reality and of life that we have. We don't know how absolute poverty we've placed ourselves. Because now we cling to those ideas, afraid to let them go. And we fight everything, including God, to save our own ideas. Maybe you shouldn't believe everything that you think. Maybe we should start to have greater experiences beyond our limited thinking that we protect so viciously. Okay, so it looks like we need some basic lessons, if we want to live a life based on love, compassion, understanding, and forgiveness. And so I want to bring them up for you. 7 lessons we are being called to master right now. I'm calling all of you to be the master that you are, in order to cleanse our karmic energy field and step into a new reality. Number 1, can anybody guess? Forgive the past. You need to let it go completely. It does not define you. It doesn't matter what happened or what you think happened. Let it go. It doesn't even matter if it was yesterday or 5 minutes ago. I need to let it go. If I'm here now, I'm in heaven. I'm in the present moment. And everything is awesome. I'm mastering magnificence in this moment. But I can't do that if I'm thinking about the past, if I have regrets, if I have shame about the past, or if I blame someone else for what has occurred in the past. So I need to forgive. That's a big one. That's going to cleanse your karma instantly. That's an instant karma cleanse. Forgiveness. And I want you all to practice forgiveness. And if you need, we'll have a forgiveness workshop for you. Lily and I have developed 2 very powerful forgiveness workshops. So if you're interested in that, you tell us and we will do it. We'll do it by Zoom if we have to. I forgive the pandemic. Everything's on Zoom. We'll forgive and we'll have a forgiveness workshop on Zoom. It's really important that we get this one, because we're binding ourselves to a situation where? In our minds. It's already over. But where is it now? In my mind. I'm carrying it around in my memory. And so every time I react to it, what am I doing? I'm making it my present reality, because the brain doesn't know if it's actually something physical or it's just something you're thinking about. You're going to react to it anyway. So forgiveness releases me from that story of the past that I am making my present reality. And therefore, I'm missing out on what's present in this reality. I'm missing out on all the love and all the beauty that's around me. Because what? I'm focused on the past. It's very important. And forgiveness is not easy sometimes. It takes some healing. It takes some work. I'm not throwing this out lightly. I've done a lot of forgiveness work over the years. I've been to a lot of forgiveness workshops, and I've taught, and now I'm teaching them. And I still have to practice every day. I can't just say, I went to that workshop, now I'm good. I have to keep practicing. So number 2, develop a thought system based on equality and embracing our differences. Did I get that one? Here it is. Develop a thought system that is based on equality, that we're all equal. All of us, every single person is equal, has that spark of divinity within them. And it's based on embracing our differences. Not just, I remember that we used to say coexist. It's not just coexisting, it's living together in a vital embracing of our differences. That I need you just the way you are. That I embrace who you are. That you are not only enough, that you are vital to my existence. And not just my existence. I don't want to coexist. I want to co-live. I want to be magnificent together. I want to see the entire bouquet, not just one flower. Because when all the colors and all the beautiful shapes and the aromas and everything are put together in that bouquet of flowers, you go, wow, isn't that incredible? If you take one out by itself, somehow the bouquet loses something. And that one flower by itself, it really doesn't do very well when it's not next to the others. So we need to be together in this. We need to develop a thought system that's based on equality. That's how you truly be anti-racist. It's not enough to just tolerate the other races. You guys are crazy. Oh, I've done so much. No, it's not like that. It's not like that at all. It's embracing the Christ within that person. Totally and magnificently and to the best of your ability in each and every moment. So I think the part of embracing our differences really helps us to understand that we're in this together and that we're in a unity. So the next thing is the necessity to accept that oneness. It is necessary for us to accept that we are one. That's a big, big step in cleansing the karma of separation. I thought I got a blank screen. Look at that. Oh, there we go. Accepting the necessity to accept our oneness. Now this is a big lesson. Remember, we're being called to master these lessons. It's not enough for me to sit at home, meditate, and feel our oneness. Now I have to master it. I have to master accepting our oneness when I walk out the door, when I go down the street, when the old tapes start playing, the story about this person or that person, and you'll hear it, you'll know it, you get a feeling about the people you see and perhaps how you judge by appearances, or the stories you hear and how you immediately get into that story. And so this is an important thing to master, is that if we are all one, that we all have the ability to have a higher consciousness. And so I don't accept the idea that this is just the way it is, or some people are just a lower vibration. That doesn't make sense to me. What that says is that I'm perceiving you in a lower vibration. So that says more about me than you, doesn't it? I want to perceive everyone in this higher vibration that I feel today with you. I want to perceive everyone in that vibration. So that's the necessity to accept our oneness. And accepting our spiritual oneness and consciousness is going to automatically help us to bring it into manifestation. What was our prayer? By the substance of pure love. By the substance of pure love, bring into manifestation my world. According to what? Not human law, no, divine law. And so I must master this idea of divine law and this idea that my world can be manifested. It has to be manifested at this point through the substance of pure love. because I've gone too far already in the other direction. So I'm going to have to rediscover something. I'm going to have to rediscover the magic and the miracle of nature. The magic and the miracle of nature. You know, there are wildfires raging right now throughout California. And I know that we're praying for them, and we need to send more people, more help to those wildfires. But in the midst of those infernos, the largest wildfires in history of humankind, there are redwoods that are still standing. There are redwoods that have been scorched by these fires, and they're still standing. The magic and the miracle of nature right there. And that gave me hope this morning that we can overcome these fires. Not only the fires that are burning in California, but the fire that's burning amongst the human family. We're being burned up by our fear and our separation. And you know what? I'm going to be like the redwood. I'm going to still be standing. And I'm asking you to do the same thing. Just remember, rediscover the magic and the miracle of nature. And yes, we have to deal with climate change on a spiritual level. Last week, probably every week, I mention this at least once. There's a spiritual solution to every problem. It's not just a book written by Wayne Dyer, which is a great book, by the way. It's the truth. There is a solution to this, but we have to employ the solution. We can't deny the problem, first of all, but we have to employ the spiritual solution. And then all the other things will fall into place. All the things that are necessary to make it happen here in manifestation will happen. But it will happen through the pure substance of love and according to divine law. Okay, here we go. Honoring the sacredness of all living things. I think I was just talking about that and rediscovering the miracle of nature. We need to honor living things. There are some countries that trees have the same rights as human beings. The trees and the animals in Costa Rica and in, not Australia, New Zealand, have the same rights as a human being. They have the right to live. You can't just go and cut them down. You have to say why, what the purpose is for cutting them down, how you're going to repurpose that natural resource. You have to give all life the sacred honor that it deserves. All of it. All of it. And expanding our idea of God. This is really an important thing. Expanding our idea of God or spirit. Energy, love, vibration, frequency. What are some other things? Universal mind, intelligence, divine mind, spirit, the spirit that we share. All these things are God. God cannot be made in our image. We have to remember we are made in its image. It's not a he or a she either. It's consciousness itself. It's so much bigger than what we attempt to make it to be. And then we attempt to take this idea of God and use it for our human purposes. No way. It's not going to work. It's too big. It's bigger than you. You can't do it that way. You have to try to allow this amazing idea of God to expand in your heart and mind and become your experience. And if God is love and only love, then you must see it like that. It doesn't have human perception. So stop perceiving God as human. Start perceiving the human as God. Start perceiving yourself as divine spirit. So expanding our idea of God, that's one that never stops. That's a lesson that's going to keep coming around. And I feel that mastering that lesson will be something that I can't even describe, really. So let's keep moving on here. The next thing is when we expand our idea of God, our spirit, we're going to have to walk in this new reality. We're going to have to walk our talk. We're going to have to walk in the reality of love, in the reality of higher consciousness being our guide. We're going to have to walk and act and be in that consciousness. We have to step out of where we think has made us comfortable, because right now, how many of you are really comfortable with what's going on in the world and in this country? How many of you are really comfortable with this? And if you are, I'm going to say the comfort zone can be a nice place, but there's no growth happening there. You may have gotten into a comfort zone, but I can say it won't last long. And so let's move on and walk in our new reality. The reality of love, the reality of oneness, the reality of unity, and the reality that we are making a huge shift in consciousness as human beings. And you know, we are finally, guys, if we're to bring forth the Christ in us in all its glory in this world, we're going to have to release all that no longer serves us. We're going to have to release it. And that would include the cleansing of our individual and collective karma. See, that's something, I don't know if I made that up or not, but it's something that came to me yesterday, is that what we are cleansing, the great karmic cleanse, is our collective karma. And there's no paying for your sins, but there is a law of what you sow, you shall reap. You get the result of your own thoughts, and you will always experience the consequence of your own decisions. The good news, my friends, is that you can sow and reap in love, that you can think higher thoughts, that you can always make a new decision, a new and higher and better decision. And we know that it's all happening simultaneously. Relinquishment of the past, the healing of the present, and the opening of ourselves without fear to a future shaped by spirit and not determined by the dictates of human personality and sense consciousness, but by our divine nature and the uncovering of that Christ within. That's what's going to shape not only our present experience, but each moment following. And so our future will be one that we can really enjoy. Our future can be one that we can have faith in. That's the most important thing. If you want to have faith in something in these days of uncertainty, have faith in your divine nature. Have faith in the Christ within you and within everyone else. And have faith that we will stand tall like those redwoods in California. And no matter what occurs, that we will still be standing here in our oneness and in our unity. I love you so much. Keep the faith. Amen.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass., and visit us online at unityoncapecod.org. This video was made possible in part through a grant from Unity Worldwide Ministries and the Templeton Foundation.